everybody. Coming up on a Thursday morning, great show, a lot of action last night. Are the Sixers done after what we saw out of Jason Tatum? Lakers back at it this evening. Is it a must-win now for LeBron James and company? And what is the deal with what are they calling it, the quarterback platoon approach in New England? Bill Belichick will weigh in on that, but we got to start with the late game action last night. Mavs and Clippers. Dallas looking to tie up this series at a game apiece. Luka Doncic did his part while he was on the court, at least. Team high 28 points in 28 minutes. Luka actually ended up sitting out most of the second half. He was in a lot of foul trouble. Kristaps managed to stay in this game. He had 23 points, and while Kawhi was good, 35-point double-double for Kawhi Leonard. He wasn't good enough. The Dallas Mavericks get the win. And this series, guys, is suddenly tied up at a game apiece. All right, Nick, we're going to dive in. What went so wrong for the Clippers in this game last night?
Oh, they can't guard the Mavericks. They just can't guard them at all, Jenna. And by the way, for our loyal audience that's here right at the beginning of the show, I just want to tell you, and this is no sarcasm, I'm actually serious here, 9 o'clock today, we have 9 o'clock Eastern, a very major announcement for the show. It is not Kevin Wild's Blazers-Lakers pick. It is something else, but that's coming up at 9 o'clock.
Last time you did this, you announced you got a haircut. That's why that doesn't work.
I know.
Last time you did it,
that's why I'm telling the audience that this is, I understand I was the boy who cried wolf on this once, but this time it's serious, 9 o'clock Eastern. But let's get to the main event here, which is going to wipe that smile right off Chris Broussard's face. Why did the Clippers lose? Because they can't guard these guys. They've played 8 quarters of basketball. If you remove the one where Kane Fitzgerald inserted himself and kicked out Kristaps, the Mavericks are averaging 32 points per quarter. What would that be over the course of a full game? Jenna can do that math. 32 plus 32, 64. Oh, 128 points per game, which is almost exactly what they scored yesterday. This is, no, it was a compliment. You could do the math. Listen, it's a big problem. So I got a quick question for you, Chris Broussard. Yes or no, if you would. Does Kawhi Leonard have the ability? Can he guard Luka Doncic?
Yes.
Then he should. That's the adjustment. Kawhi, go guard Luka. Because if you can, then he should. Because whatever the Clippers are trying to do right now ain't working defensively. And so we can get into all the different issues that we saw yesterday, but the fact of the matter is, in this series, Broussard, the Clippers jumped out 18-2. The Mavs then went on a 69-48 tear until Kristaps got kicked out. And then yesterday, when they had their full complement, they led your beloved Clippers, your juggernaut, wire to wire. That's what I saw, but maybe you, Chris, were watching a different game last night. I don't know. I'm excited to hear what you got to say. I'm going to sit back and listen.
First of all, I'm so happy for Nick that this happened, because yesterday was just sad when he had to defend the Lakers. So this is good. This is appropriate. He gets to stick out his chest and talk about the other LA team. So I'm good with that. Now, that said, I picked the Clippers to win this series in 5. That means that the Mavericks were going to win a game. Last night was that game. I stand firmly by my pick that the Clippers will win this series in 5 games. All right, I'm telling you that right now. So mark it down, save this segment so you can look at it when I'm done. But look, I could talk about no Patrick Beverley. The Clippers are just 11-11 this season, including last night, without Patrick Beverley. Obviously, it hurts their defense. I could talk about Paul George not being able to put a ball in the ocean, 4 for 17, no points in the first half, 14 overall. I could talk about the Clippers overall not being able to shoot the 3. They were horrible from 3, 29%? I could talk about all that. But here's the main thing. The Clippers' lackadaisical, nonchalant attitude this whole season caught up with.
Thank you.
I think they've been listening to the pundits, like myself, who have said they're the best team in the NBA. I think, as we would say in the old days, they've been reading their press clippings.
Reading their press clippings.
They can just show up, right? That they can just show up and put anybody on the floor. If Kawhi's there or not, we'll still win. If Paul George is there or not, we'll still win. That's been their attitude. And they did it again last night. And they've gotten away with it most of the season. But last night, it finally caught up with them. The only time they came out with real intensity was at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And you could see a marked difference in the way they were trying to play defense. So this is good for them. This was a wake-up call that, look, you're not about to win an NBA championship. You're not about to win the West. You're not going to win a series if you don't bring your A game intensity-wise every night. So this is good for them.
If this was good for them, then tomorrow night should be great for them when they lose again. Like, that'll be the best thing possible. Then they might just go faux. Hold on, we'll get to that in a second. But there's a lot I got to unpack from what you just said. One was America, yesterday, Chris Broussard tried to big brother put me in a headlock, noogie me, and say, adorable Nick Wright picks with his heart, not his head. Me, New York Times writer, official NBA voter, television veteran. I've learned to pick with my head, not my heart. And then he came out this morning and was like, said the exact thing I said yesterday. If I picked them in 5, they got to lose 1. That was the one. The problem is this whole series has looked like, they can't guard these guys. And Patrick Beverley, I've heard all year how deep the Clippers are. If you are a 500 team, when your 5th or 6th best player isn't there, then you've got problems. You've got even more problems if in a shortened season that we haven't even had 80 games of, you said 11 and 11? It's more math we all can do. 11 plus 11, you don't have to carry. That's 22. So he's missed over a quarter of the season. So it looks like he might miss some more. But the last thing you mentioned is, Paul George. Paul George had a bad game, and if he plays like that, they could be in trouble. Well, then sound the alarms, because I think that might have been playoff P's music. Show the graphic. How's Paul George postseason's been ending the last few years? With games that look a hell of a lot like yesterday. In 2017, what happened at the end of his season? He ran up against LeBron. He goes 5 of 21, go home. 2018, you're in OKC. Game 2, you're terrible. The final game of your season that year, you're 2 of 16. Last year against Portland, you threw up a 3 of 16. So it's not like Broussard, Paul George throwing up air balls, which he literally did last night. We saw him literally do to win a playoff game a couple years ago. Aside from in the Gatorade commercial, playoff P, I'm not sure that's a positive thing. And so these are all concerns. Now, they can all be stymied if your guy Kawhi Leonard will take on the challenge and guard Luka for 4 quarters. Because you know what Kawhi's reminding me of? I want to give, just quickly, I want to give Kawhi a compliment because he was outstanding offensively last night. And this might be the nice thing I ever said about Kawhi. He's reminding me a lot about LeBron James, his final regular season in Cleveland. Outstanding offensively, teammates let him down, and doesn't give a rip on the defensive end. The thing is, Broussard, I was told that's not Kawhi Leonard. So maybe he should guard the 21-year-old Slovenian superstar, and maybe the series will turn the other way.
Can I go, or is Wild stepping in?
Please, go.
I'm rooting for you, Broussard. This is like a knockout. I'm going to throw in the towel pretty soon. It's too much.
First of all, Kawhi did guard Luka at times yesterday. Secondly, Luka was not the problem, as great as he is. Luka was good yesterday, but they were killing the Clippers without Luka. Luka only played, 9 minutes, I think, in the second half? So Luka was not the problem. You are right. They have not been able to stay in front of the Mavericks. Trey Burke, Seth Curry. And when you look at their small guards outside of Patrick Beverley, they aren't great defenders. Landry Shamet, Lou Williams, they aren't great defenders. Their perimeter defense is based around 2 small forwards in George and Kawhi being defenders. They're not going to stay in front of small guards the whole time. So I think you will see Kawhi more on Luka. Doc Rivers is definitely going to make some adjustments. Trust me, Doc Rivers is going to be able to use this. Because as I said, they have not showed up. They have been outplayed for the most part by the Mavericks, and this is just what the doctor ordered. On defense, their rotations have been sloppy. They're missing assignments. They don't know when to help, when not to help. Offensively, they're playing too much ISO ball. They had 16 assists last night after having 18 in game one. That's 17 a game. That's your math to an average. Put that in perspective. Portland was worse. Portland was worse than the league in the regular season in assists with 21 a game. So the Clippers are playing far too much isolation basketball. The talent's there. The bodies are there, even without Patrick Beverly. They just have to get their head right, and this type of loss will do that.
Wilds, jump in here.
This is a scene in every boxing movie you've ever seen in your life, where the guy wants to come out for the next round, and I just got to look at him and be like, I can't let you out there. I can't let you out there, Broussard. I think during the break we float the rest of these Clippers. It's not good. You're like, no, Wild, but Paul George was terrible, and Patrick Beverly's not there, and they were lackadaisical. I can get out there and win 3 in a row. They're going to win in 5. I'm like, I'm not going to let you out there, buddy.
Nick picked him. Nick picked the Lakers in 5. Broussard picked him in 5 also. Exactly. All right, well, listen.
We're going to throw it in, Nick.
Games out of what, 50? How many dozens of playoff games?
It has now been a wake-up call for the Lakers, the Bucks, and the Clippers. Hey, elsewhere last night, Jason Tatum made another case to move up a tier in Knicks rankings. Celtics, Sixers. Next, first things first.